Hey guys, Paul Rabley here, and we get a lot of questions about people wanting to, quote, protect their assets or wanting to know about asset protection. So I thought I'd make a video and really kind of set the record straight and really dig right into what people mean when they say they want to protect their assets. So a lot of times people come in the office, Paul, I want to protect my assets, and so that could be a bunch of different things. I've been doing this long enough where I can kind of read people. I know really what they're going to say before they say it. So I'm going to break asset protection down into three different components. Take a look at each one. The first form of asset protection comes when somebody comes in the office. Age-wise, they're probably 65, 75 in that age, probably retired. And what happened was they've seen some family or friends get sick, go into a nursing home, lose all of their assets, perhaps even lose their home. So they don't want that to happen to them. They come into the office, Paul, I need some advice. I want you to help me protect my assets. And so really, sometimes when people say, I want to know about asset protection, I say, what are you trying to protect assets from? Because it'll go a lot of different directions. So this first form of asset protection really involves when people come in and they say, Paul, I want to protect my assets in case I get sick and go into a nursing home. I don't want to lose everything I own, because that, quite frankly, happens every day to people who get sick, go into a nursing home, and they have assets in their name. So that discussion requires that we take a good look at their health, their age, take a really good look at their assets and their monthly income, Social Security, pension. Going back to the assets, we got to look at what do they own. Do they own a home? Do they own other real estate? Do they have retirement accounts? Do they have other savings? Do they own other property or business interests in their name? We got to really take a good, accurate picture of everything that they have. And then we've got to look at all the rules that apply to all the different forms of assets and income and find out, really what should they keep in their name? Should they be forming some type of trust and transferring assets to a particular type of trust to get assets in their name? Oh, by the way, the typical traditional avoid probate revocable living trust does not provide any kind of protection of assets from nursing homes. So that's another discussion. So that's the stuff we've got to look at for purposes of protecting assets from nursing home. And oh, by the way, we have to look at the timing of everything, because ideally you want to have all that protection in place at least 5 years before you step foot in a nursing home. So those are all factors that involve protecting my assets in case I get sick and I have to go to a nursing home. Quite frankly, I don't know of anybody who wants to go to a nursing home, but just about everybody realizes that we don't know the future. We want to stay at home. We're going to try to stay at home, but you just never know. We might need care in a nursing home. We want to make sure we're protected. The second form of, quote, asset protection is a little bit different. So we get people who call up, they call me, or they come into the office, and maybe they're age-wise, maybe they're in their 40s or 50s or early 60s. Maybe they're still working, and you know what? Something happened. Maybe there's this threat of a lawsuit against them. Maybe they were in an automobile accident, and the plaintiff's lawyers are breathing down their neck saying, not only are we going to take all of your insurance coverages, but we're also going to come after you personally. Maybe there was an accident on a piece of property that you own. Somebody got hurt. Maybe you got sick, you got cancer, and so the medical expenses are going to be enormous, and you're worried that you might get sued, there might be a judgment against you, and you're going to have to use all of your personal assets to satisfy that judgment. Yes, many people have liability insurance, they have health insurance, but the concern that people express to me is, Paul, I have $1 million of insurance company, but they're threatening to sue me for $3 million. And so if they're successful, the insurance will pay the first $1 million, but I'm going to be responsible for the next $2 million, and that will eat up everything that I have. And that's a justifiable expense. The problem with that form of asset protection, really two parts to that. One is, in order to protect what you have from lawsuits, typically you have to reposition some things that you own and into a form that maybe you're not comfortable with. Maybe it's a certain type of investment or legal form that you're not comfortable with, or maybe you don't like the fact that you may have to give up some control over what you own. And then the second component that really causes people to hesitate about protecting their assets from lawsuit is they don't worry about it at all unless something happened. And when you take action after something has happened, even though a lawsuit hasn't been filed against you yet, those actions may be able to be undone because a court said that it was some type of fraudulent conveyance or you did something with the intent to defraud a creditor. So often people start that kind of action too late. But boy, when the threat is there, people are nervous and they feel like, wow, I've got to get the information and take action right now. Typically, then they settle down once they gather the information and they either take action or not take action. Sometimes they don't want to give up the control, or sometimes they see that the threat is not what they originally thought it was. So anyway, that's just the second form of asset protection. What if I get sued? The third form of asset protection is kind of lump all together this, Paul, I want to protect my estate from the government. And when I dig, into what they mean when people say that, typically it involves a couple of things. One, people typically telling me something like, I want to protect my estate from taxes, and then maybe that's an estate tax discussion. Maybe it's an income and capital gains tax discussion as you try to figure out the most efficient way to transfer what you have from you, perhaps to your spouse, to the next generation, maybe even beyond that. And then this protect from the government stuff is also in people's minds I want to protect my estate from probate. People in general don't like the fact that when they pass away, the government is responsible for making sure that everything gets managed appropriately temporarily until the government or our judicial system oversees the distribution to the appropriate people. And a lot of people want to keep the government, keep the judicial system, quite frankly, keep the attorneys out of that. I don't blame them because it's not an efficient process and it's expensive and it's time consuming. So people want to protect their estate, make sure 100% of it stays in the family and the right family members are able to get things done at the appropriate time. So all of those three different forms of, quote, asset protection. One, protecting from losing everything in case you get sick and go into a nursing home. Two, protecting assets in case you get sued successfully, and protecting the creditors from seizing everything that you own. And then three, just generally people say they want to protect what they have from the government, and when we dig a little deeper, it's taxes and it's a probate issue. So all of those require different discussions, different analysis, different solutions, different legal, financial strategies. And so again, it's the job of myself or someone like myself to find out, what does concern you the most, and then take a look at your circumstances and craft a program that accomplishes what you're trying to accomplish. So I'm Paul Rambolet. Hope that helps with your kind of asset protection questions and discussion. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment to the video. Y'all have a great day. See ya.